Okay, we do this. Welcome. Another episode is back with a bang. Nothing much has changed. Spurs is still shit. I wish all of us here to get that. Nothing much has changed,
Yeah.
Jose 2.0, you get the same result. But before I do that, if you're watching, like, share, subscribe, spread the word. We are doing match reaction videos. We're doing weekly shows, live streams as we put on hold for now, but we'll come back with that at some point, maybe if the demand is there. Let me introduce everyone. We'll start ladies first, as always. Our in-house City fan, Yan City. Thanks for coming on.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
The next person on the panel, Idris. His team is bouncing. They're flying as always. Chelsea. Flew to the top of the table. Idris, how you doing?
It is what it is, man. It is what it is.
Well, we still not last. We still expect the honor, but your favorite Oga Kwame, his rant videos is almost going viral. A match reaction video from the young boys almost going viral. I'm not joking. I still checked it. It's getting a lot of views.
Listen, hopefully, you can change the home ec teacher that they call coach. That way, I can stop ranting. So, but for now, we'll keep ranting. I don't care.
Okay. I'll wait for Honor to join. Of course, there was Champions League this week, and I think we'll start with Champions League. We'll go from, I guess, the oldest to the latest. I think that's the best way to approach this. We'll start with Champions League talk from this week, and I just want to address two quick key games. First we'll talk about City, specifically not because of the win. I think we should just dive straight into the whole Pep. I think it's been Pep versus City fans, Pep versus City fans versus empty seats versus cheap tickets. It's been going all around. I don't know if it's an agenda. Agenda must be there. We know that. So I'll just let Yan address that. First of all, you guys won 6-2, I guess. 6-3 rather. Good result. But like, what is it with Pep and the fans? What's this all about?
To be honest, what Pep said is the same sort of thing that he says a lot. He used to say it before he joined City. Like he's basically saying, I need you guys in the stadium. I need you here. Blah blah blah. What's happened is, because Man City have a lot of controversy around empty seats and stuff like that, the fans have taken it as a dig at the fans. So they're saying it's not fair for him to do that because, one, we have 3 home games in a week. So it's a lot of money. Like, I didn't go to Leipzig because I had to pick between Southampton and Wickham or just Leipzig. So I decided I'd rather go to 2 games than 1. I have to pay for all 3 regardless. So I might as well just miss 1, So I chose Leipzig to miss, right? So that's just the way it is. Secondly, in terms of the Champions League in general, City fans aren't as likely to attend that than other games. They have a lot of issues with UEFA and stuff like that, which we know over the years. So I'm not saying that's everyone because most people will go regardless, but there are a portion of our fans who point blank refuse to give any money to UEFA. So that happens too, right? On top of that, I don't know what City have done this season, but it is an absolute joke. I tried to get Chelsea tickets, Chelsea away tickets. So I called them 3 times last week. I was number 148. That's the closest I came to being in the queue, right? So I was on the phone for about 10 minutes and it went from 148 to about 144. So I thought, you know what? I'm not even going to bother waiting. The other day I had to wait because I need to change my address. Took me about 2 hours to get through. So unless you want to wait in a queue for 2 hours, you're not going to get a ticket. So what City fans were annoyed at is the fact that Pep doesn't know these things.
Okay.
Then he says things. So it's like if you've been waiting in the queue for 2 hours and then you get cut off, and then Pep makes a comment about you not attending, people kind of took it badly. But me personally, I don't think, the minute I heard them comment, I didn't think he was trying to dig at the fans. I thought he was just saying, you know, come and join us on Saturday. We need everyone behind us. That's the way I saw it. And that's what Pep is now saying that he meant. But a lot of our fans, it's mainly rival fans that kind of jump on it and say things like, "Oh, Pep's begging for you guys to come in." He said the same thing about Bayern Munich a few years ago. It's just that's what he does. He says these things, and what he means is we need all our fans behind us, blah 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 blah. But it comes out a different way, and like City's attendance and stuff, like it's just a lot of the comments and stuff. Like I hear, the Etihad was half empty, and I'm in the stadium and I've got pictures and it's not half empty. But what people will do is they'll take a picture before it's kicked off and say, "Oh look, this is the fans." Half the fans are outside the stadium waiting to get in.
Yeah.
So unless you get to football over an hour before kickoff, you won't get in there for kickoff because the queues are long. So it's like people will take pictures before half time in the 80th minute, 88th minute or something like that, and then say, "Oh, this is how the stadium looked for the whole game." So it's just, there's a lot of that. City this year as well, they made this stupid decision that if you buy a ticket, you can't give it to someone else because we don't have season cards anymore. You have to download it onto your phone. So usually what people would do is say, "Right, I'm going on holiday. Here's my season tickets. You go to the games that I've missed." Now you can't do that because they have to download it onto their phone. So it's just things like that. So all of it together, it's just, I'm tired of it now. I don't care. Our fan base is not as big as United's. It's not as big as Liverpool's. It's not as big as Chelsea's.
Correct.
And it's not as big as, well, I'd say Arsenal's, I'd say. Them four. It's not as big as them four, right? And it's like, we still get over 50,000 a week for our Premier League games. So considering the size of the fan base, how many we actually get, it's not that bad. So I don't really want to hear when there was 30,000 of us in you know, league, the third division, we were praised for our fans. Like I remember when I was younger, everyone used to say to me, "Oh, you're a City fan, you know, you're so loyal, your fans have been there through thick and thin." And now it's like, "Oh, you're all glory hunters, blah blah blah." But you can't have glory hunters and empty seats. It's one or the other. So I don't know, it's a mess. I'm kind of done with it now. I think we'll see what happens. But the fans love Pep. They were all singing Pep's name. So we'll just have to see what happens.
Okay. Then before I make my own comment and let somebody else chime in, just briefly, I don't want us to waste too much time. There's a lot to unpack. Let's welcome our in-house Spurs fan, Steven. It's been a long time. You're making your comeback on the show. It's the first time this season. Thanks for joining, Steven.
What's good, people?
My man got on a Spurs hat. A San Antonio
Happy
Spurs
New
hat.
Year. Look, I'm repping these
My man got
Spurs.
on a San
I'm
Antonio
repping these
Spurs hat.
Spurs.
This is not a basketball show. That's an NBA hat, bro. NBA.
Man is like,
These Spurs win silverware, baby. I'm repping these Spurs. Nobody asked me about any other
man is like, y'all
Spurs
got the
today.
wrong Spurs.
Don't ask me about any other Spurs today. I want to talk about NBA.
Oh my god.
No, that's a good one. That's a good
Let's
one.
go.
How's everybody, man? I see you guys. Idris, everybody.
Good to see
Good.
you.
Good to see y'all. Yannicka.
Good. We'll come back to Spurs very quickly.
It's all good. It's all good.
My quick comment about I think Pep. I had no problem with his comments. Funny enough, I just think when he was clarifying, he didn't need to double down. I think he could use that as an opportunity to spin it and be like, "Oh, we need the fans." Just be clear. We need the fans. The fans are our 12th player. Blah blah blah. Just key into all those things. Like I think that's what maybe managers like Klopp would have done in that situation. Just flip it. There was no need doubling down to prove your point because your point was clear. We know the people that were trying to twist it. His point was clear. When he doubled down and did the whole, "Oh, I don't need to apologize. I don't know," like I was like, "You don't need to do that." It's not necessary. And I understand that because Pep is not a media guy. He was like that in Barcelona when he started the whole issues with change of board and he left in 2012. He's not a media guy. He doesn't care about those things. He's a nerd that just wants to cook. He doesn't care about those things. So his responses are always very like off the cuff. Sometimes like, oh, whoa. Like, where did that come from? You know?
And also you have to realize that every coach says that. Every coach wants their fans to come to home games and stuff. Coaches say that all the time. It might have come off, differently just because Pep is Pep, and also maybe because English is a second language. And additionally, I don't think there was a need for the who was that? I think it's the secretary of the city supporters trust or something.
Oh yeah, Kevin.
Came out, there was no need for that. Do
you know what I think it is with City though? I think because City have followed, a lot of our fans have followed City through when we were shit. Like at one point, City were keeping the club afloat. Like their fans paying tickets was paying the wages of the players. Like they've been there, and it's kind of like nowadays it's all like, oh yeah, well you should be expected to attend 3 games a week regardless. And a lot of their fans, we don't have Man United's fan base where if I don't go, there's 50 people from London wanting my seat. Like we don't have that. And the thing is, that's what I like about City. I don't want to go to football and be surrounded by people that don't know the songs, that don't know the history, that don't understand City. So me personally, and a lot of City fans are saying, we'd rather every week there's 30,000 diehard City fans than a stadium full of people who are asking, oh, who's that number 7 and stuff like that. Like, we don't want that. So I just think their fans, obviously that Kevin Parker and stuff, they just take it a bit personally when it comes to that, because we already get a lot of slander from rival fans. Yeah. So we need Pep in our corner. And what he said, even though it was taken completely out of context, it's kind of like, we don't need that. We don't need it from Pep. We need Pep to say, you know what, thank you guys for coming, blah, blah, blah. Because 3 games in a week is a lot of money. Even if the tickets are quite cheap, it's still £100 in a week. So a lot of City fans, they're not rich. Do you know what I mean? That's a lot of money to spend. So I think they just take it a bit more personally than other fans. If Ollie said that about United fans, they wouldn't even care. But City fans, they take it a certain way. I don't think Pep should have to apologise, because I don't think he meant it in a bad way.
I agree.
I just think it's a misunderstanding, and what happened was the media jumped on it and made it a big problem.
Yeah.
So
the media jumped on it, and rival fans also jumped on it. But
Pep
did not have to double down, and also he never had to make that whole thread about, oh, if they don't like me, I'm gonna leave. There was no need for that.
Let me get comments quickly. Someone says, why same faces? Well, no, not really. This is Steven's first time on. Yeah, it's the first time on. No, we switch up the panel and we tailor it to the games, that we have this week. So no, not the same faces. But thanks for the comments. Dada says they're the best. That's why. I agree.
I'm with Pep on the issue.
Don Dada. I used to like when somebody from the house backs it up. Who is the person that is saying different? Put your name to it, Joe. Who has your name?
Talking about Chelsea.
Thank you, Dada.
They were same faces. Yeah. Let's see your name.
Put your name to it. If you want to come and talk here, come and talk.
Big up, Dada.
Thanks, Ryan, for the comments. Ryan, part of the Sarcasm City podcast. Thanks for the comment. Steven, you were saying you're with Pep. You want to quick?
I'm with Pep all the way. I think that what he said is for fans to take offense to somebody, the coach saying, I need more fans to be there next Saturday. I mean, that's just being touchy, because this is the coach that has brought you consistent success. I'm not talking last day of the season against QPR or whatever. I'm talking about consistent dominance, beautiful football, cups, everything. I mean, everything you would ask for, being a normal City fan. See, if you're a greedy City fan, you're giving him hell because he hasn't won the Champions League. But if you're a normal person who's a City fan, Pep is a god, little g to you. So if he says, hey, I want more fans next game, Baba, We're coming. That's what I need to hear. That's what I need to hear.
I mean, they did go.
So when
Like,
he
the whole
started
stadium
getting mad
turned up.
about that, I'm like, wow, I don't even understand. So I'm just listening to Yannicka to understand why you would be mad at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in terms of the Premier League, we don't have problems filling the stadium. Like when it's not midweek, because midweek people have kids, they can't, you can't necessarily go because like the game started at 3:00 and I got home at 7 p.m. So if you think about it, the game starts at 8 p.m. What time are people getting home? When you've got
And
kids and
people have to work the next day.
Yeah, midweek is not. The Etihad is one of the worst places to get out of. It takes you like 2 hours to get home, regardless of where you live. So
Oh wow.
the thing is, with they block the road, so you can't drive down the road, and they let all the coaches out, and then they let you out. It takes a long time. So midweek, I kind of understand why people don't go. 3:00 on a Saturday is always full, because people can always go. So. Like I'm saying, I work in London. I live in London, so I couldn't go to Leipzig. So it's just one of them things. And Wickham, again, it's not going to be full because people are not going to be able to attend. So I think, like, obviously at the weekend we turned up, the players didn't. So it's just one of them. Like,
Yannicka, if you don't mind me,
the players, isn't it? The players decided not to turn up. I didn't complain. So, yeah.
I think Yannicka, it's like I see. I didn't know you were living in the UK, but I feel he's not speaking to you guys. He understands that if you have family and work commitments, but he's talking to those boys playing FIFA at the same time as the match, watching it on DAZN. Those boys smoking weed at home. The Man City ultras that should be coming to the game. I mean, come on.
But this is actually
how are we going to be talking about support for the best team in the league? Like, come on, I would be mad too. But I'm learning from Pep because some things are true, but you can't always say to the fans. Just like right now, I can't always say the things to the parents of my players that I want to. You gotta coddle them. But come on, like I'm with him. What are we talking about?
I got to say something though. My fault to be on the city admins, or I won't say board because I don't think this is their job, but maybe part of it. If Yannicka can break down what is so obvious to why your numbers are not adding up in the stands, there is a disconnect between the guys and the board.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
That's what people are saying. Pep has no idea about any of them issues because he won't know.
He won't know. Yeah, he won't know.
Yeah, like that's not good. That's not good. I mean, I'm looking at Leicester's. I'm looking at Leicester's ownership, the way they run things. Like when may so rest in peace, the dad of the current owner. Like the way he even brought up his son to treat the club and the fans, you understand? Like there's a connection. If this was a problem that he was aware of, I mean, like I'm sure if he was the owner of City, I'm pretty sure he'd be fully aware of this problem that they're having. So there's a massive disconnect that a fan can actually break it down and tell you 3 p.m. will be here. This time we can't even get out because you need the coach out. So no rational person is going to come out. And even when you're saying you don't have a huge fan base, you guys have one of the highest turnout ever in history, 80-something thousand people. So even as a Chelsea fan, I remember when people used to be like bandwagons, this, that, we used to fill stadiums even midweek and stuff. It was almost the same thing people were saying, And I remember my 3 tickets I bought for my first games in Stamford Bridge. I bought it from somebody that could not make it to the game. So I can't even think of a scenario or situation where people like us from Canada, people coming from the United States, trying to grab a game, maybe they're just touristing through, having to see a game ever in their life. If they cannot, I don't want to say scalpers, but if you cannot buy from somebody that is there.
Okay, I think we should wrap up this comment. Let's move on Champions League quickly. Let me take all the comments. To wrap up, in my opinion, yes, I agree. The midweek games, the only game I visited, only United game, it was a midweek game, it was Burnley, and it wasn't even full. I remember I was at Old Trafford. It wasn't full. It was probably 60,000. There were a lot of empty seats. It was a midweek game. It was hard to get in. We had to get a Airbnb in Manchester to stay there because it was hard to get out. Also, everything was just it was terrible. We had to walk.
Real quick, what year was that?
This was just last year. I was there last year, January.
So it was while y'all sucked. Okay, all right, go on.
Look at this guy. Trying to take shots.
They're the champions.
Okay.
They're the champions. Hey, go.
Okay, wait. Let's take comments. This guy taking shots. Okay. I walked it down. All right. Toby says that I can't spell Y. Okay. Toby says PSG and Leon start soon, so I'm going to have to do it a bit. Toby, like Arsenal fan, that's what we know you for. So
Yes, as a neutral.
Say what exactly has Pep brought to City that they didn't have the period just for a case. No, let's not address this. Let's move on. This is a troll.
No,
You know what? That's a good comment, though.
It's not a good comment. It's not a good comment. I'm just going to move on.
Not a good comment. Please move on.
You know, there's a way you can click on link to our stream and you will comment. Yes, thanks for letting me. Thanks for being our admin.
Siamara should be our moderator in the
moderator. Yes, moderate the comment. Interesting. Let me try that. It's boring. That's what it is. So about the Pep thing. I mean, yeah, I don't like addressing it because I think I've addressed it so many times, and I know Yannicka probably wants to address this, but it's like I'll just say facts. Let me just give simple, quick facts. When Pep took over, Man City came fourth the season before. They were fourth. They barely made Champions League. They made Champions League either on goal difference over United or 1 point. I remember they made Champions on the last day when LVG messed it up. Yeah. So they were in transition. They were not a good team. All their key players were leaving. They were not the best team. Absolutely not. Chelsea were champions at that time. Leicester were champions. So no, yeah. They were not the best. And even when they won the league under Pellegrini and Mancini, how did they win the league? It's very simple. Let's all remember on the last day, on both times, on the last day, when Pep won the league was over by March or February. That season they got 100 points. So let's not even go there. It's not worth it because I don't want to come across like I'm praising City. But I just deal with facts. Champions League. I'll let Joel Oga Kwame start. I just want two games.
Which match?
No, Young Boys. That's all you address.
Okay. I didn't know we're still talking about Young Boys.
Yeah.
Listen, this is what I'm gonna say. If we perform like that against Young Boys FC, I want to see what it's gonna look like when we play Grown Man FC. Because this person you call coach, actually, the Olisexuals called their manager. He has proved to be nothing more than an incompetent, a tactically mindless, devoid of any kind of football intelligence person. Like, no. Like, my dad is 70 years old. He doesn't really watch. I mean, he watches it very tactically, but not as much as people like us would analyze the game.
Yeah.
He called me and he was like, "What was that?" It was and I asked him a question. I was like, "Look, if you would rate the quality of the two squads, right? Just quality of the players, quality of the bench, same thing for Young Boys." He said it would give Man United between an 8 and a 9, Young Boys between 2 and 3, right? And he was saying that to make the point that even after we went one man down, by the way, he doesn't think that Wan-Bissaka tackle was a red card. That's how old school he is. But he's saying that even after going one man down, there was no way we should have put up a performance like that. The Young Boys had 19 shots. That too. Yeah. Even before the red card, I don't know if you watched the game, but I'm sure
I did. I watched the game. I watched 19.
Even before the game, they were peppering us on the counter.
Yeah,
they were. I mean, it's not before the red card. They were peppering us. So my point about and I know that video. People think I'm this crazy person that's always ranting. I'm always angry. I'm not always. Angry.
We know you are. It's okay. No, you have to just.
But it just shocks me how he goes all the way completely defensive after going one man down. Right? There was no excuse for that. Like I don't know how else to say it. Like Ollie doesn't play football with any kind of defined stratagem. I'm convinced that if you took an MRI of Ollie's football brain, the tactical box is empty. Like it has nothing inside of it. There is no way we can continue playing football and realize the full potential of this team under this manager. Listen, this is the best. I don't know if anybody would agree with me here, but I think this is the best squad we've had since 08, 09.
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of quality of players, player for player, bench for bench, you know, it's the best. But I keep saying you should never give a Formula One car to a 6-year-old. He will crash it, or she will crash it. Right? We need to remove this important project from the hands of a novice. That is us.
Yeah. Okay. I don't want to talk too much of this because I want us to keep the time today. I'll go on. Let me go to Club Brugges, and maybe I'll let my man talk about his former coach, Poch, a little bit. But I'll just start quickly. PSG Club Brugges. I saw that game too. I was playing them consecutively. I think it was the same day, if I remember. Yeah. I really, really think Poch needs to decide quickly now because it's been 6 months in the project. He's been back to the team. Zero excuses. I think he needs to decide quickly. Is he going to try to be I'm just going to let the front three do whatever and just protect them midfield-wise, or he goes for fluidity? Because I think he's kind of stuck in between two minds of, let me let them have freedom. But the problem is, this is a man that likes high pressing, hard work, and they look so disjointed. I watched that game. I was like, whoa, this is, it might just be first game, teething problems, like they say. But man, they look so disjointed. And when I watch them, and one thing I never do, I never use group stages and project into the future. With people, I think we do that a lot as fans. Like group stages mean nothing. They have to get out of that group. But like what I saw that day, I was like, it needs to figure it out quickly, that midfield, because the problem I saw straight away was Hakimi overlaps a lot, and there's a big gap in that place where Hakimi overlaps, and teams are going to attack that gap, and they will destroy them. Because Marquinhos will keep coming out of that place and the center will be open because Hakimi just goes and nobody falls back for him because Messi's walking, Mbappe is walking, Neymar is walking. I'm like, this is not going to work at high level football. It's not. So he needs to decide if he uses one of the two, stays on the bench. Either Messi comes in, Neymar comes in. He needs to figure that out, because if he doesn't figure that out, they are not going to go for a Champions League. They will not even get a deep run. Last time they got semi-final, I don't think they even get there this season. If he thinks he's just going to play this, let it tell them not contribute defensively, because I saw that, I was like, Champions League against City, against Chelsea, they'll get destroyed. Like if they play like this, they'll get destroyed. That's what I think about that.
What I saw once I looked at the formation, I was watching all the Champions League games, and they were just missing Gay, Idrissa Gay, right? Mm-hmm. And they played Paredes instead, and he's just not the same defensive midfielder that Gay is. Yeah. So I feel like I want Poch to win. Let me be clear about this. Not just because he's our previous coach, and I didn't really hold him in the highest regard, but it doesn't mean I don't want him to win. I want him to win because you have to win with that team, right? But he's making the same mistake that the Galacticos made. It's like, hey, let's get Figo, Zidane, Ronaldo, Beckham, and we don't need Makelele. We don't need it. And I hope he doesn't make that mistake, because for him to go with Paredes, I hope it's because Gay was injured, because he wasn't even in the lineup. So when I watch them, it's like he seems to not really like a real defensive midfield player, because when he was with us, right, he would try to play Sissoko like right mid or right back. He got rid of Victor Wanyama.
On social, it seems that they share that characteristic.
Yeah, he got rid of.
It's true.
He got rid of Moussa Dembele, who was holding the midfield for us. Now. He got rid of Moussa Dembele, which I still can't. Whenever we talk about this, I can't understand that transfer. So he kind of likes a midfield of passers and runners. Yeah, he doesn't appreciate that all defense midfielder, and you need that midfielder if you're going to play with Neymar, Mbappe, Messi. You just need. So I just thought it was really simple. I hope he's not making the same mistake again, but I can't understand why he didn't play Gay. To me, that's why they drew. That's just the reason. It's a
Okay,
simple.
let's dive into EPL now. Of course, the game of the week that just ended. How do we unpack this? Idris hasn't spoken for a while. Let's let Idris.
Sorry, hold on. Let's go back just for 1 second to the Young Boys game.
Okay.
What did you guys feel as Man U fans? What did y'all feel about the Ronaldo substitution? Did you want him to stay on, or were you fine with it as long as Martial came in?
That's why I am.
Yeah, you wanted to go?
Yeah, that's why I am. I wanted, like, I think when you took out Ronaldo, you need to run. You can switch. I was fine with Ronaldo's option, but just carry like ball carriers and runners, somebody that can hold the ball up, one person that can hold the ball up, and one person that can progress, that can run. That's what I thought it was going to do, But Martial came on late. That's our best hold up. Came on late.
Brought Lingard.
And he brought Lingard, but Lingard is not a hold up guy. He's a progressor. He runs. That's what he does. Every time he's done well as a 10, where he plays, running off people. That's what he does. Did in West Ham. The goal he scored today. I caught that one towards the end of that game. That's Lingard's game. That's all he does very well. If you give him some other thing to do, he can't do it. So I mean, that was my own thought process. Joel, you want to?
Yeah, I wasn't mad at the Ronaldo substitution. I was mad at who he brought in and also the general approach to the game. Right. Van de Beek played well in that first half. Right. And when you go one man down, you need people who can hold the ball, who can protect the ball, who can pass the ball well. Right. The one person who could do that, he took him off, Van de Beek. Then he brings on Lingard instead of Martial. And it's just, I think that's when he just went. I knew we were going to lose that game as soon as Lingard came on. But, I guess today is a different story. But, because Lingard scored today, the homosexuals are out.
It's all good. In my head, you don't take off Ronaldo. I've never seen Ronaldo tired in my life.
I mean,
you see him tired, point it out to me.
He played 90 minutes the game before. He played 90 minutes the game before, and he was going to play 90 minutes today. So I understood it. I understood the substitution. It was just, who do you bring on?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Chelsea. Let's dive into Chelsea. Idris, tell us about that game. What are your quick thoughts about the game that just ended over 2 hours ago? Just less than 2 hours ago. What are your thoughts?
I would say it's as expected. Why are you laughing? I haven't said anything yet.
Don't ask me nothing.
Is this thing we're going to ask? Because me, as expected, never in doubt. Then my boy just put his Spurs hat for.
Was it never in doubt? Let's be honest. Was it never? Let's talk about the game. Was it never in doubt?
Never in doubt. Never in doubt. It's Spurs.
Spurs played well first.
It's Spurs. It's like when you're sending hey big head. It's Spurs,
please.
man.
You get out of here. What do you mean it's Spurs? Man,
bro,
we demolished y'all a few times.
It's like when that fine girl goes hey big head, the guy's gonna jump.
You know what's coming after that.
You want to go out? You want to spend money? We know our own.
I just let you go. I let you go. It's all good. It's all good.
I had to poke my boy.
Hey, big head. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's Daniel Levy's fault. It's not your fault.
But it's kind of like I also think it's because sports are not settled yet. The post Mourinho thing is still there. Then without all that hurricane starting beginning of the season, they're not settled. They had a good start. I mean, like 1-2 starts, but Nuno still has some work to do. In regards to Chelsea, we're settled. Honestly, for me, the game showed what we've always been at. There's nothing personally I would say does any different other than Thiago Silva 37. God, I don't even know what to say. The guy's a midfield center back. Like it's just sexy to watch. I don't like God, and then Rudiger being an Aguero as usual, normal, doing his thing. Can't be mad. I think the one person, the only thing I got out of this game is my donkey of the day came out from this game. And I've been trying to be a positive person, but nah, man. There's just some things in life that you're just like, they say people lipstick on a pig is still a pig. There's nothing, there's something, I don't want to hear things like he has a nice run, he has nice work rate. I don't hear rubbish like that. I don't want to hear rubbish like that anymore. Like
They
Lukaku
want this
was
way.
fighting, walking, punching. This guy came. They created 2-3 one-on-ones. 2-3 one-on-ones for this guy. I'm not even mentioning his name because it's a waste of data mentioning his name.
Timo Werner. Yeah, Timo Werner. Yeah.
It's only a Spurs fan can mention his name.
He's a top player for Chelsea. He's one of the
He's
Chelsea
a top player
starters.
for Spurs. Can never be for Chelsea. Never.
He's one of the Chelsea black players. Keep going. I want you to talk more about it.
No, for me, honestly, I just for me, there was not much other than it was a very good game. It felt good.
He was my man of the match.
No, Thiago. Kepa came in. I wouldn't lie though. When I saw Kepa, my heart skipped.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, you know what? I really wish I want this boy to keep going on a high. You know, I declared I will not say anything bad about Kepa. I declared after he won that penalty for us, I accepted. Jorginho, I'm a changed man. Then I tried.
Kepa was protected by the short blankets. He was protected. I mean, Chelsea's defense, I just talked chat very quickly.
Oh my God.
I think apart from Van Dijk,
I have to talk about
I think it's safe to say this. Apart from Van Dijk and Ruben Diaz, I think Rudiger has been the most consistent defender in the Premier League since Tuchel came in. Let me put that caveat there. I think so personally. Then maybe because of Maguire too, but yeah, he's been incredible in that back three. That back three is suited so well for Antonio Rudiger. He's like he can sleep and know where to stand, where to run. Like I watch him when I'm watching his positioning, when to run, when to drop off, when to like when to step up. I'm always watching him like, man, this guy in this back three. Like he's so comfortable in that back three. It's ridiculous.
And you see how he's like those. He has a couple of those sprinting 45, 50-yard runs. He's starting to be a regular now, and I'm like, who's coaching? That's coaching. But go ahead.
Do you think it's coaching or what I was saying based on the characteristic of the player?
I think it's a combination of both. Because if you remember, I like that Idris brought up this point. He was doing it when he was under Sarri. If you remember the season when Solskjaer just came,
yeah,
like when we just needed to beat Chelsea and play 1-1, the goal that I think it was really kind of made that long run. They shot the ball and they applied it to Alonso. I remember that game because I was pissed. Let's take Ryan's comment. Says certain idiots messaging me saying stuff. I think you're right about Graham Potter. Like I've not been deluded over the last few months, and people are fucking starting to realize. Yeah, you're right. I remember you said that. About Potter. I think Potter.
Yeah,
that's where one of my kudos of the week is coming. It's coming there. You can't escape this, Mr. Steven. You can't escape this. It's inevitable.
I'm trying to take in what you guys were saying, and I was listening for something. I can't believe that you guys haven't given credit to this. Is one of the games that shows why this position is so underrated. Even when we see what they do, this player is still underrated because I can't believe y'all didn't talk about halftime substitution of Conte.
No, I was going to talk about
the game.
I was going to talk about
it. Changed the game completely. Like it gave you guys the balance that you needed. It just gave you exactly what you needed. And in the midfield, we already didn't have anything creatively. So it's like if we had something creatively, he would have had a lot of work to do. But because we had nothing creatively, he was able to come in, block whatever nonsense Ali was trying to do, and then dominate himself. He was able to show more of what he had, not just the defensive stuff, but just playing the passes, spreading it right, left, running through the middle whenever there was space. I thought this game is why defensive midfield players should be on par with strikers in terms of salaries, importance, Ballon d'Ors, everything. So even though we're bad, but we could have forced a draw today. You might not want to admit it, but if we just came with aggression and continued the way the first half was, we could have forced a draw. But Conte just showed the difference because he exposed our lack of any attacking ability and just played in the gap and just gave them the ball. Another player that I think Tuchel has really improved is Havertz. I feel like Havertz didn't really know what he was doing in Chelsea until Tuchel came. Yeah. Because now he can get into the, like if you break past the midfield, that gap right between the opponent's midfield and the defense, he can play there, get on balls, play a short pass. So those two guys, it was really tough.
Since we're still talking about Chelsea, you mentioned two things: the imposition of Kante, right? And we had started talking about it, about like when the coach removed an offensive player for a defensive player, but we seem to attack better more. Like it's crazy, and that
counterintuitive. Yeah,
that ties me to Tuchel's supremacy over Nuno's philosophy, or what probably even experience.
What?
Like because we got to. I'll just make this point real quick. We got to also touch on the fact that you mentioned that like Kante's imposition of self and the need for Spurs to have had somebody to like disrupt the midfield playing. But it's actually crazy that like with a 3-back that's supposedly supposed to be very defensive, we created far more with a defensive player who was able to impose himself. So it's really crazy how the coach kind of like watched the game and realized that like, okay, hold on a second, if I just add this characteristic type of player, it completely changed the mold. Because Alonso had like 2, 3, 4 shots on goal that your goalkeeper today was man of the match in your own.
But that's a great point.
And you started with a lot of intensity, but if you're playing intensity and you don't have these characteristics and tactical play in the middle, as you mentioned, is it an intensity situation or was it a tactical situation scenario from the coach?
It's tactical brilliance from Tuchel, but also the point that you made about you guys with 3 defenders. We should have taken advantage of that by having our 3 forwards play wide. Anytime you have 3 defenders, like even if you're not necessarily going to beat them just by playing 3 forwards, but at least if you play them wide, you can stretch them so that the spaces aren't so easy for Rudiger to cover. Rudiger looked like Van Dijk today because it was easy for him to cover those spaces like you were talking about with Ayo, because we had Son trying to make his run straight through, but Lo Celso, we're playing Lo Celso centrally instead of playing a wide play on the right. So the way that Nuno wants to attack, I'm still giving him time, but he played Lo Celso as one of the forwards. I personally, I don't really rate Lo Celso. I think his best attributes are dribbling and shooting, but we need a real creative player that can see a pass. I think one of your goals, he got caught on the right side. I think the first one or the second one. No, the first one was a header. He got caught on the right side in our half, and he couldn't receive the ball well. Like one of the basic things I expect a creative midfielder to do is be able to receive the ball with your back to the game and turn, because you're always checking your shoulder. You should be able to be aware and know what's around you. Even if no one else can do that, I expect my creative players to do that, to be able to be aware. But he's not even there. What he can do is dribble and finish, and he doesn't even do those at a high level. So once I saw him, I know he's not going to play wide. So he's playing through the central area, but it was like a substandard player. I hope he gets good, but I don't have much to say about our team, man. It was just the players aren't right yet. The coach, he's not sure of what he wants to do, and I don't like how it's looking. But I was just hoping that, sometimes when you have nothing, right? When you have nothing as a team, as a player, what you just do is work on fitness. and get your boys to ginger high level. I mean, I'm talking about anything you can give them so they ginger, so they at least make it a physical game.
Burnley style.
Burnley style, Wolves style before. And that's what we were doing in the first half before Tuchel made the change.
Yeah.
So that's really what we have now against the big teams is grind.
How do you feel about on the left?
What'd you say?
How do you feel about Dele Alli on the left?
It's weird. He's playing a kind of position where he's really a box-to-box midfielder. And so I like that for him. I think that's where he should be. I don't think he was playing on the left for the whole game. I think he was coming back in the middle, playing box-to-box. And I like that for him. It's just that if you play Ali as a box-to-box player at this point, you need somebody else that's going to be creative because he's still finding himself.
Yeah.
He's just not there yet. If you notice, most of the game, he was doing more defensive work.
A lot.
And then when he gets the ball, he'll try to play a long ball to Son. That's not even Dele's game.
No.
Dele's game is tiki-taka. Dele can find the spaces, find a pass, beat a player. So he's not at his best creatively, and he's kind of playing more defensive. So we need a real creative midfielder, and we just don't have it. We just don't have it. Maybe if Lo Celso had dropped more into the middle instead of being one of the forwards, it might have helped.
Yeah.
But then we would have needed to play Brian Gill from the start as a wide right winger, and that would have stretched Chelsea. But he didn't do that from the start. He waited till we were losing already to bring in Gill. And Gill's just a young boy.
Yeah.
He's not going to take to that situation. So for us, the season is the same thing that Daniel Levy does, right? He'll look right in the eye of our weaknesses, and then he'll go and buy like 4 or 5 21 or 22-year-olds looking to sell them for future profit. That's what he does every time that we need players. So we never really fill our gaps. We get, for example, like Man U, right? You need a defensive midfield player, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's, let's just say Conte. There's Højbjerg. There's some experienced defensive midfield players who you could get. Instead, all of a sudden, you go to Brazil or Argentina.
I'm just using your example. We need DM, but we got Ronaldo.
Ronaldo instead.
That's even fine. At least
I don't
you got an experience.
sorry. Steve, sorry. I don't appreciate these two United people mentioning that. This guy is a no-brainer. You're supposed to get him. I don't know why you're complaining.
Yeah, I don't know why
he has deeper issues.
Let's not go there. No. It was just comments. I was following his
No, I had to shoot back.
I like the shot, but I know what they're doing. They're trying to lower expectations. They're trying to be like, we got Ronaldo, but it's not what we need. Oh yeah.
This is not even about that.
I'm not. Okay, let's take comments. Let's move on.
All I was saying though is that instead of getting that DM, right? Imagine if you guys went into the market and instead of getting an experienced DM that could fill that hole that you need, the weakness in your team, you got a 20 or 21-year-old DM from the under 21 Brazilian team to come and try and learn that position in the next 3-4 years.
That last season for number 7, we did that. When we did 7, we now got Diallo and we got Pelestri, and we don't even play them. And they're like, no, I'm like, wait, what?
It sickens me.
This is exactly that last season.
It sickens me. The difference between us and y'all is that you already have good players, so you can afford not to play them. We are forced to play those dudes. And so we look like a team that's learning all the time because we're playing with players that are learning all the time.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It just continues every year.
Okay. Enough. Don't worry. There'll be more sessions for therapy, sports therapy. Sports therapy sessions there. I'll bring you for different ones. Let me take comments. Then we go to Big Six. We can talk about. We start with City, of course. City playing 0-0 with Southampton. We're coming. I didn't forget, Yannick. I think we're going to skip past that result. Let's talk about that. Musa says, I see Tuchel and Alonso coming back. Yeah, Alonso, all of a sudden, he's become number 1. I didn't see that coming. This is the calmest I've seen Oga Kwame in a very long time. Wow, Oga Kwame, how much you've been in a very long time. That, people are noticing.
He's not wrong. Whoever that is, they're not wrong.
Okay, let's go with City. City Southampton 0-0. Almost could have ended 1-0, even for VAR helping y'all and overturning that decision. What happened there? Is this lack of striker that you've been complaining about all season? It looks like it's coming home to roost so quickly. Yeah, tell what happened in that game quickly, because you were there, right? You were there. You watched that game. Oh, she left.
Oh, she lost.
She
don't want to talk about. She don't want to talk about this.
It's all about me.
She couldn't say good sport. You're right. Okay, let's jump to United. I'll let you talk. I didn't watch that game. I'm not going to claim. I woke up and saw the last 10 minutes. So talk to me about that. About that game. I didn't watch it, so I have no inkling about that game.
Listen, okay. I'm not even going to talk about the coach because there's no coaching doesn't exist in that team. we started the game. I mean, we started the game how you would expect us to start a game. It was kind of lethargic. Saeed Ben Rama had us on toast. Jared Bowen had us on toast. Even the guy that came in for Mikel Antonio, Vlasic, had a couple of chances, but of course we go 1-0 down, right? And who bails us out? Ronaldo, Even Varane did not look good in that game. Maguire looked terrible in that game.
Horrible.
Remember when I said this in our United group chat? You remember that guy comment about the thing I always say about Maguire? That he does this every season. He starts the season very slow, then he picks up and becomes good. And
Yeah.
like I said, this is third season in a row. I've been watching this. He starts very slow the first 2-3 months, then picks up towards the end. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm not a fan of that. That's not going to work at Manchester United. It can work at Hull City, at Leicester City, not at Manchester United.
It was bad.
Before we went live, I was asking Idris to name, because he watched that game. Name me any part of the game you remember where Fred or McTominay or both showed their ability to resist the press, their passing prowess, or ball carrying prowess. Not one time did that happen. I don't remember. And like Bruno came so deep so many times.
Yep.
Ronaldo was coming deep. Like
Ronaldo chased a player after a ball was lost to your box.
Yes.
And then I knew he tried to do something and he felt like,
so
he did it a couple times.
Look, people will tell you that, early masterclass, he brought in Lingard scored. He brought in Matic when in the 85th minute we're looking for a goal. Matic created the assist, but we've seen this movie before, right? We've been here before. There are like two brilliant things that happen, and then they use those two little things to mask the overall terrible nature of the performance. Paper over cracks is what it is. It's like you have a gunshot wound and you put a Band-Aid on it. You're still gonna die. You're gonna die. So look, brilliant. I'm happy for the win, of course. Cristiano Ronaldo strikes again. We never doubted he was gonna get goals this season.
Yeah.
He will get goals. Like that's a given. The problem is, are performances like this sustainable? The answer has to be no.
Yeah,
well, can I chime in? I watched the game too.
Okay.
They're like, honestly, watching this United team against West Ham versus watching the United team versus Young Boys almost seem like two different mentalities, to be very honest with you. I can totally understand like his inconsistency is why United fans are just tired of Ole. But in this game, yes,
let's be clear. Wow, it's very wild. Like we can blitz teams. Sorry, I'm here. Like
go for it.
On our day, we can blitz anybody. We have so much firepower. It's ridiculous. We have second, wherever you stand, we have the best or second greatest player of all time in our team. Like we can blitz anybody with that firepower, individual talent. We'll go from that and go the next game. It's like whoa. That inconsistency to why. Now when you have that, you're just not a great team. We're a good team.
And
good team is never ever going to. Maybe in 2016, when 4 teams were in transition, like 4 top teams were in transition, maybe in some wild years where like most of the teams are in big transition, yes, it will be good enough. Like how Leicester did it with like 2 world-class players and organization, they won the league. It's not going to fly in this version of the Premier League. I keep telling people, you're not going to win the league or win the Champions League doing that. It's too wild. That inconsistency is just too wild. It's too much. Like
I like it for you guys.
and what the wild inconsistency is
just tell you you're not a great team. Look,
there's nothing that comes as muscle memory to these players. That's what it indicates. There's nothing that comes naturally to these players, whether we're talking defensively, offense. Bro, I keep going back to you, Idris. I watched your 37-year-old center back today put at least 3 headers on target from a set piece.
He did. The guy's out of the match.
And I'm like, Thiago Silva, and it's not only Thiago Silva. I've seen Kurt Zuma do that consistently.
Yeah.
I've seen Tony Rudiger do that consistently. that tells me that there are drills going on in training on set pieces, how to defend them and how to attack them.
That new set piece coach, is on. For me, he's on fraud watch.
Fraud watch already. I'm sorry.
The guy that they hired and everybody was like, "Oh, God, this new set piece coach."
No, I don't agree. I don't agree. I don't agree with this premise. I don't agree with this premise that if you're seeing something on the pitch, that means there are drills going on. It's not necessarily true. It's not necessarily true. It's possible that there are drills going on and the players are not translating it to the game.
Correct.
And that's not always on the coach, man. Let me tell you, if you're in a math class, right, you're doing the same exercise, you're doing the same homework. On test day, bro, there's only like 3 to 10 people that are going to get A's. Not everybody's going to do the work. Not everybody's going to do the execute properly. So it doesn't mean that those drills aren't going on. You have a fridge, and I don't know what you have. You're trying to compare it to Thiago Silva?
Yo, but no, I think
don't put it on the coach.
Today,
don't put it on the coach. Is all I'm saying.
There were things he did. I get where you're coming from. Okay, I'm going to keep an eye on Maguire now because you said so. He starts slow and he goes. Bro, there were things he did today. He created unnecessary pressure on everybody. He carried the ball forward, no pressure, misplaces past 10 yards 4 times.
Yes. And remember when he got caught on the ball too?
You know what I thought?
On the ball in the first half.
Yeah, you know what I thought when I saw Maguire today? I said, this looked like somebody, he's a good player, but he didn't sleep last night. That's what it looked like to me. Honestly, it made me remember, when you're playing, when you're young, you go out, come back at like 5 in the morning, you got a game at 8 in the morning.
Definitely.
That's what it looked like. He's a good player, but the coordination is just not right this morning. He didn't get his sleep.
But also, to push back and support, I agreed with you, then push back on Jala, but to kind of push back on you a bit, if that's the case, then there has to be some coaching things that are missing, because this is what Chelsea noticed with Frank Lampard's team. Certain players were regressing. So something was off, right? Certain players were regressing. So if they have a set piece, and I agree with you, it's not all of us on the coach. Some of these players have to tune in, right? If certain players are regressing in certain aspects, the coach has to pay attention to why. You know what I mean? I mean, like what's going on here? Those ball missing was odd, very odd. It broke attacks down, lost rhythm, and it just created unnecessary tension for United. In all honesty, and when we're talking about Fred McTominay combination, absolutely right. I was like, man, these guys are kind of like very interesting what they were doing. Like I wouldn't, but Bruno did. I want to take something back. I said last podcast about Bruno. I said something about the fact that like Ronaldo now is the guy. It doesn't matter what Bruno was drinking or what Kool-Aid he thinks he's on. Daddy's home. You remember that? Yeah, Daddy's home. He's not going to be the focal point. Then they were going to. I remember the word I said: separate the wheat from the chaff. Like the creme de la creme will rise, or he's going to fall off. He played a very different game. Ogakwame,
absolutely.
He fueled that transition that Scott and what's his name wasn't able to do.
He was providing it.
Pogba is the only person that was just transitioning that back and forth. Now, I now see why the average United fan who has a problem with Ole is like, what's the use of these two guys? It's redundant. If they're already there, what am I having them for? So that I don't know. Like, I don't know. Ole, I don't know with Ole. But yeah, I agree with you. Wow.
Yeah.
I thought Bruno, honestly, I thought Bruno didn't have a great day today. I thought he was wasting a lot of balls. He was playing some very risky balls. I know that's part of his game. He feels like I'm going to play a ball that has a 40% chance and maybe it'll work. But when he was in that hole, right, he's got Suchek and Rice. And he wasn't dealing with it very well because they gave him very little space. So he would receive and try something risky. And it got better when he dropped back into the midfield. They gave him a little bit more time to play with Fred and the other dude. But before that, he was having a bad game. I almost wanted to see Mata in that game. Yeah, like to come in and sometimes like just be able to receive a ball in a tight space and play a pass, stretch West Ham instead of always doing a forward pass and getting blocked.
But you know, but the reason why I said I take it back was I did not think he would be intelligent enough to do that for himself. Because the 2-3 games before, he was showing some suspect stuff. As soon as Ronaldo was on the pitch, he was still trying to be the guy. But right now, everybody knows Ronaldo will be in the right space, right spot, right run. So nobody's wasting time on thinking about what Bruno is thinking. They're going to look for Ronaldo because he's always there. So that now that shadows Bruno. So what does Bruno do now? Is he a liability to the United squad, or does he start to create space for himself and make himself relevant, and helping out? That's why I said, like, honestly, I was impressed. He dropped.
He made the switch.
Yeah, because United, we're talking about United here. We're not talking about how solid West Ham is.
Yeah,
exactly.
That team is solid, man.
Very. And they played the perfect player to capitalize on McTominay and Fred. Because McTominay and Fred are box-to-box players. And so Benrahma was able to find the space, and he's good with the ball. It was great. It was great.
Oh, we're also not going to mention the fact that Antonio did not play. Should Antonio had played?
I know, Vlasic. Where was that Vlasic even?
You know what? Maybe if Antonio had played, maybe Maguire would have had somebody to keep him busy. Maybe that.
Or maybe Maguire is still waking up. Maguire was more horrible.
Vlasic, Benrahma, and what's his name? Jared Bowen. They had our defense on toast. They just kept rotating.
I'll catch extended highlights. Let me take comments, then we can talk about City, then wrap up with our words. Everything is good for United fans. He gets blamed for everything. People act like Wan-Bissaka and Lingard passing on the coach. No, I think it's any United fan, any football fan, in my opinion, who is very, very objective, cannot put everything on the coach. Definitely agree that there's no way the team can be champion level with inconsistency. If Idris was Maguire's teammate, he would have punched him in the face. Bruno try plays the same every game. I don't think he's changed his game. He plays percentage football. Yeah, that's true.
It's true. It's not really that he changed his game. It's just that we're appreciating that he dropped back when he realized it wasn't going on in the hole. He dropped back, into Fred's spot.
Are we not going to talk about the calls? The penalty
calls?
No. Like, are we not like, bro? That was wrong. I wish United ill feelings every weekend, but his own, I was like, come on now. Like, and the last penalty, I saw one. Like, whoo, hats off,
David. Listen,
damn.
when De Gea saved that penalty,
wow.
I was texting my brother, and I was like, screw this texting. Recorded a voice note, and I was screaming at the top of my lungs. David, I don't care what. Agendas must agenda, right? People are
what?
Antonio did not put it at what's his name? Mark Noble did not put it at an angle. It was an easy save. I don't care. That is the first time he has saved the penalty in 40 attempts. David De Gea single-handedly won the second to the ref. That ref, dickhead. Okay.
Yeah.
2 minutes before, Ronaldo went down twice. The first one, I don't think it was a pen. I don't think
the one that there was contact.
No, that's the second one. No, you're talking about the second one. The second one,
they were all pens.
That's a pen.
What are you talking about,
bro?
The first one. Which was first?
All of them were pens too.
They were all pens, bro.
Listen. Hey, look. I'm trying to be objective. I think the first one, it went. Especially, we have new rules in the league this season, right? They're trying to be a little more hard on players getting penalties easily. So looking at the motive, looking at the way he went down, how much force went into the tackle to make him go down. I think he went down a little too easily.
Somebody needed to high kick Ronaldo to get any penalty.
I was done.
Look, second one is a more penalty. And twice on a Sunday. And today was a Sunday, so they should have given 2 penalties for that second Ronaldo. Right. And then he goes and gives a penalty for the Luke Shaw handball.
No, that was a penalty.
I wouldn't lie. I was happy when there was a penalty call against you guys. But then I was like, if that was a penalty, there was no way for him to put his hand. There was nothing he could do.
No, that
And
was a
he
penalty,
goes,
bro.
he actually goes, and this is what is frustrating. If VAR
Put
says
it
penalty,
behind you. That's what every other person does.
it was so inconclusive. He had to go and check himself, and then he comes back and says penalty. And I'm like, bro,
You know, the only reason I'll allow that to be a penalty is because I've seen them given. We saw that against we saw that against AC Milan in the Champions League this past week. You know,
You can't do this anymore. You can't do this anymore. It's a
yeah,
pen.
that you know, that's a pen.
You can't
That's
do it. You can't do it, guys. You know, like Canada is a little different from US. It's kind of between US and UK, right? It's like British, so you can put something on the game. So I put something on Man U and on Brighton this morning. So I was going through everything y'all Man U fans were going through, like the penalties. I was dying. I was like, "What? Can you give me my money?" I mean, those were clear penalties. And then this idiot Luke Short. Sorry to call you idiot, bro, but come on. When I have something writing on the game, he put his hand out, and I had to admit, man, that's a penalty. So when De Gea saved it, oh my Lord, that boy saved me today. Woo!
Okay, let's move on to City. You know,
Danica.
let's talk about City. Say, okay. Well, someone said I find a shame for when I want you to take pens. You can't get one.
I know, right? I know.
Okay, Annika, City 0-0. Talk.
Yannicka, did you run away for real?
Man, she got pissed.
No.
She was pissed and she left.
He set you up. He introduced you to talk about the Nancy City game, and next thing you know, you had a blackout like you living in Nigeria. Like what you just cut out.
Sound went off, and then it wouldn't let me.
I thought she lived in the UK. Okay, go on.
Nah, in terms of City, it wasn't a good performance from us. I think it's one of the worst that I've seen under Pep, to be honest. City weren't good. Southampton defended well. They weren't particularly good either. There was 3 shots on target in the whole game across both teams, and 2 of them were from Southampton. So that says it all. We missed Ferran Torres. I love Ferran Torres. I always give him extra ratings, and people try and downplay. Ryan in the comments, I know he's gone now, but he always tries to say he's not that good. He's not that good. And then he doesn't play, and we look like we're struggling up front. So, yeah, he's a great player. I'm not sure why he didn't play. I thought defensively, apart from the Kyle Walker situation, I thought we defended quite well, considering what Aki's going through. He was quite solid. Ruben Diaz, for me, was my man of the match for City. The midfield, Fernandinho, who you know I love, was terrible. He didn't have a good game at all.
Grandfather time is coming. It's here. It's finally here, I think, with Fernandinho.
Yeah, Bernardo Silva wasn't great. Gundogan was terrible. Grealish was okay. Sterling was terrible. There wasn't probably about 5 players that were good. Edison did his part, you know. But yeah, it wasn't a good performance. Probably, you know, if we'd have lost, I wouldn't have felt that we deserved a point just because of the way that we played. So yeah, didn't play well, didn't deserve 3 points, definitely not 3 points. Obviously, at the end, there was a bit of controversy because there was obviously the red card / penalty decision. When I first saw it, it did look like a penalty. When you see the replays, it's a weird one because he went down before Walker got his foot in. So that's why it wasn't given. But if he had given it, I don't think too many people would have complained because of the way that he went down. So it was a weird one. I don't really understand the rules when it comes to penalties nowadays anyway. But yeah, I think we got away with that a little bit. Just wasn't good from City, to be honest. And we allowed that to happen because of how we played. I think the first half, we should have scored in the first half, you know. I think Gundogan it was. I think he was the false 9 in the beginning. I don't know why. And he just wasn't really fast enough going forward. So if we'd have had like a Ferran Torres or someone else up front, then maybe we go 1-0 up and that's a completely different game. But for some reason, Southampton are a bit of a bogey team for us over the years. They used to beat us 1-0 a lot in the dying seconds. Then we used to beat them 1-0 in the dying seconds. So, yeah, it's not. I'm not too worried about City. Simply because we don't get going at this start in the season. We tend to go on a run a little bit later in the season, and that's what puts us in any sort of title race. Obviously, we've got 2 very, very hard games back to back now. I don't think, even if we lost both, I don't think it rules us out because there's a lot more games to go. But I think if we are going to win the league, we kind of need to send a statement out, which would be to not lose to Chelsea and Liverpool. So we'll see what happens. It's weird because I always say it, City and Chelsea are never in a title race together. It's either City are really good and Chelsea are okay, or Chelsea are really good and City are okay. So this would have probably been the first time that there've been a title race between City and Chelsea.
Yeah.
It looks like City might be having one of them seasons where they go, we'll let someone else win it, which is not great. So we'll have to see, but
Too early.
From us.
Too early.
I have a question for Ayo and Yannicka. Are we not going to? She broke down City well, but she also alluded to my question, which is Southampton and Pep. Tactically, what's up?
I mean, in my opinion, I think it's just sometimes teams have boogie teams sometimes that just by coincidence. Sometimes I think it's styles, wins fights in the sense that Southampton are a very good high press team, right? They press a lot of times, and the City players, like the way they like to build slowly, just still like this build slow. The thing that started from like last season when it switched, flipped the script, and they went like very compact, everybody stayed close together, and they build because they don't want to get hit on the counter attack a lot. I think sometimes it falls into Southampton. And Southampton in general as a team are this way, the way they play you. 2 things happen with Southampton, right? They score you early, they get going, they press, you get a draw, maybe you come back, or you come back and beat them. But once they don't concede early, they don't fall apart. That's what they're saying about this team. Once they concede early, they can concede 3, 4, 5. That's how they are. Once they don't concede early, that they're high pressing because they do the press where they target. They don't press every time. They press like maybe every 3, 4 times. They just press, and they disrupt your play, and they are very hard to break down like that when that works, right? So I just think it's just one of those things that you can't put too much stock into, like for example, Tuchel versus Pep or Ole versus Pep. That one you can put too much stock because you know that it has happened too many times already. But with Hassan Hutu, it's like, I just think it's one of those things that it's just coincidences, I think.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
And to that, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, in terms of the team as well, I think normally we would play Rodri in that sort of game, but he was injured. So I think based on who was out as well, Pep kind of didn't have a choice. And, Fernandinho has been so solid for us. We didn't have a great game. So it's a bit of the players not playing well. Sterling played for a reason. And our fans weren't too happy because they're not big fans of Sterling. But he played because he's got a good record against Southampton in the past. So that's why he played. But unfortunately for us, he's not at his best right now. So I don't know. It's even the subs that he did, I think it needed changing a lot earlier. Me personally, I think you could see we needed De Bruyne. We weren't creating anything. When De Bruyne came on, it got better. And we had our first shot on target in like the 90th minute, which is poor. So I think Pep could have changed it earlier. But yeah.
I think it's time for him to starting the game, in my opinion.
I thought we would score because normally when we play like that, we just get a goal and then, it'll go 2-0 or something. But I didn't think it looked like it was coming. We didn't look like we were going to score. Obviously, we did score at the end, but it was offside. Yeah. It just didn't really look like we were going to score too much. But yeah,
I think it was a shame that Pep had to put Ferran Torres in the stands just to get his attendance up. It's quite sad. It's quite sad. I'm gonna blame that on you, Yannicka. I'm gonna blame that on you and the rest of y'all fans.
let's dive into it. Weekly awards. Let's end with yours. Yannicka, tell us yours. Let's wrap it up. Who gets your kudos and donkey of the week?
Okay. God. I'm just trying to think.
And we can come back to you if you're not ready.
Yeah, come back to me.
Okay. Who's ready? Weekly awards, donkey, kudos of the week.
I'm ready.
I know you are. You're always ready.
First, I've never seen Steve in this toxic in a while. He loses a game and he just comes and spreads all his toxicity like all of you. Shooting shots. I love it. Mine are both Chelsea. They have something to do with Chelsea, and it's because now I'm able to compare contrast, because I've always been stuck with a philosophy or tactical type of play. And you and I go back and forth and debate it, argue, and we die on our horses, or sometimes convince me, or I might get you to like change your mind. Yeah. The issue here has always been, what kind of striker do you prefer? Do you prefer a goal poacher, like an Inzaghi, one that doesn't really contribute around the box, but once they're in the box, things happen, Van Nistelrooy? Or do you prefer a player that can run, constantly, maybe comes from the wings, maybe is always moving, run off the shoulder. We talk about Martial's ball handling up front. Ronaldo is not a ball holder up front. The guy he keeps himself in the right place to make the runs to finish, period. Missing Greenwood, now he's becoming that kind of player. I've struggled with this, and I've opened my mind and asked friends about this right away. So for me, my award goes to Tammy Abraham in Roma, because when we're getting rid of him in Chelsea, this was the question I asked. Everybody said Lukaku will do a better job, which Lukaku is killing it. But Tammy wasn't able to offer much coming up front. But now under Mourinho, he's looking like a different beast. I don't know what Mourinho does to strikers, but he's looking like a different beast. Then today, Werner had 3 chances. One from Lukaku, one from a blind bat in Tottenham that just gave him 2 runs, another free God-sent manna from heaven, and somehow, I don't know, either a pass, a miss, a weird shot, or something, and we keep saying he has a great run. He is the donkey, or whatever we can call, of the week and the season so far. I've tried not to be toxic, but this guy, come on, man. Come on. Tammy Abraham for building his career in AS Roma, doing his thing in Serie A. Amazing for the boy, my kudos of the week, keeping his head up. Timo Werner, man, my God, man. That guy. They say they are using it for decoy, for runs. Now Lukaku can make it go. What? David. My homeboy David.
He's a decoy stage actor.
Bro, help me.
He was a Tottenham defender today.
Oh my God.
Okay. Yeah. What are your awards?
Do you know what? It's hard not to agree with him, but I want to do something that actually lost. So, oh, it's a difficult one. I'd have to say probably if we're going off the Tottenham game, because that was, 3-0. I think Dyer, was it, that scored their own goal? So that's pretty bad, because, at that point, was it 1-0 or was it 0-0? Can't remember. Yeah, so I think that is where they lost the game, probably. I'm not saying they would have won anyway, but they might have got a draw or something. So I'd say probably that. Kudos, I would actually say, I haven't seen all of the games, but I would say that De Gea save got United 3 points, because if he doesn't save that, obviously it's 1-1. So, yeah. And considering he never saves penalties to do that, I'd say that's a shot.
Okay, kudos for the you want to go next, Oga Kwame?
Yeah, sure. Kudos of the week. I agree with De Gea, but I want to talk. I want a special shout out to Nathan Ake. After going through what he went through in the week, shout out to him for literally starting the game after that. And I know they say sometimes it's just better for people to just get back into what they usually do to get over that kind of grief. But kudos of the week, I'll give it to Sadio Mane. 100 goals for Liverpool. That's a great achievement. When Mohamed Salah did the same, was it last week or something?
Yeah.
He was getting the praise. So Sadio Mane he deserves that as well. Donkey of the week. Jesus Christ. I have to give it to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I have to give it to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He has to get it. Yeah, he has to get it for me. You know, I don't need to say much more about that. But another donkey honorable mention is Shandon Baptiste from Brentford. This dude manages to get 2 yellow cards in 2 minutes, loses his head gone, Ned Stark FC, gets a red card. Just like, but again, Thomas Frank goes one man down and still manages to keep it together. So shout out Brentford.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Steven.
I'll go. My donkey of the week, I had to give it to Jesse Lingard. I mean, let me tell you, like that's your worst nightmare for a player. You come in as a sub. You have in your mind like, yeah, I'm coming on. I want to help my team do something.
Yep.
And you end up giving the ball away in the last minute. I think it was the last 2 or last
It
minute.
was the last touch of the game, bro.
It's one of the most horrible things that could happen to you. I don't care what you think about Ole, but he did not send Lingard on to do that. Like, a bad substitution is one thing if you get it wrong tactically, but to pass it to the other team, like, come on, like Steven Gerrard, you know what I'm saying? I love you, Gerrard.
Shout out Steven.
So here's the thing, though. I'm giving him, because I know the depth of how it would take him after the game. I mean, guys, seriously, depression watch after that.
Yeah.
And to come back from there and to score the goal he did today and make me money. That's my boy of the week, too.
So he's both,
He got donkey of the
hero
week,
and donkey.
kudos of the week.
That's a good
Come
one.
on, bro.
That's a good approach.
I love you, Lingard.
That's really good.
And that's mental strength.
It is. I agree.
That's mental
a good one.
strength, man.
You know, when you were talking, Steven, I got to say, like, that you just described Ayos, Ole's wild up and down.
That's true. You're absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely right.
No, guys, don't underrate the mental strength, man, to come back on and to score a goal and that kind of finish and to drive at a player. That means he lost no confidence. That means in that boy's mind, it's just like this. He's just at a level. I'm still going to take a play on. I'm still going to drive. Every single thing he used to do, he didn't shy away. And credit to Ole for putting him back in, because that's another sub he made of Lingard when he fucked it up before. So, hey, but to Lingard, because, man, mental strength. I
agree. I like that arc. Mine very quickly, so we can end the show. You know, we'll try to do better again next time. Donkey goes to Norwich. I get that. I get their approach. Oh, we're going to come. We like the money we take for coming back every 2 years. But at some point, show some ambition. Buy some players who improve that score. Don't buy championship players.
The face Ayers maker is tripping me off.
Yeah, championship players, and you go and buy more championship players to improve the squad. Like, come on now. You play Brandon Williams, Billy Gilmore. Yeah, they are okay. Billy Gilmore has potential. Brandon Williams is not good enough for the Premier League, in my opinion. You know, it's like, come on, show some ambition. They've lost all their games, 0 points. They could not even push Watford, who just came up with them. Come on. They lost at home to Watford. They are my donkey. Whatever they are doing, their whole organization, they are just showing no ambition, personally, in my opinion.
They're running a racket. It's a different business model.
That's fine. I agree. I just don't like that model. I'm sure the fans don't like it. It's like,
Fulham is on the same model, too.
Yeah, just show some kind of ambition. Brentford have come up. They might be the Sheffield this season. Maybe they'll fall back next season, but at least they're showing some, they're showing something. Brentford, they're showing something. So they're my donkey. My kudos goes to 2 different people. Sebastian Haller for scoring 4 goals Champions League for Ajax. That 4 goals. And they were some of them were incredible goals. So he gets that. And like Ryan said in the comments, Brighton. I think I gave last year, I'll give again. They're 4th in the table. I know they will have a bad time. Because we know people who like the clickbait people. I call them the clickbait community, like, Ayo said, they are going to get a bad run. You know part of their squad. You know that. But Graham Potter, he should get some credit. He's a good coach. The resources he's working with, the underlying data. They were calling the XG coach. It was getting a lot of side jabs. The XG. Who cares about the XG? Now that they are performing closer to their XG, everybody's like, whoa. The XG has been showing for 2 years that they were a good side. They were creating. I think last season they created like fourth or fifth highest amount of big chances in the whole league. Right team.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I didn't know that. That's cool. That's cool.
And even in XG considered too, they were in the top 10, top 7. So it shows that there's something there. They just needed more quality to finishing and execute better. So shout out to Brighton. So I think that's a good place to end.
Can I take back my prediction on Sporting and Ajax? After that Sebastian Haller thing, I was like,
oh, did you predict Sporting?
Indeed. Yannicka has to run. Thanks. She's left. Yannicka has to jump off now. Well, I think this is fun. I have to go on too. So thank you everyone for joining. Like, share, sub. We've come to the end. Oga Kwame, Idris, Ono, Stephen, thank you for coming on. Making a return. Thanks for everyone.
Thanks for inviting me. Good to see you guys, man.